So I want to talk about diet and nutrition and how that affects it. And then maybe you can give us some food. I once was at a trade show and the lady speaking said, everybody eat broccoli every single day and your libido's gonna go up. And I bet everybody in the room was like, hey hun, make sure you buy like 7 things of broccoli, right? Like, so yeah. Okay. So break down how diet and nutrition helps us, and then maybe give us some like foods that will, we'll put on our grocery list for this week.
Yeah. So our nutrition is the foundation for our health, right? So we know that we can heal anything with diet and nutrition. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, as postpartum moms, we tend not to think of ourselves. We tend to make sure our children are feeding well, we worry about everyone else. But then I have so many patients who, they don't even eat in the morning. They're like, well, I'm busy making my daughter her breakfast. I'm like, well, why aren't you making yourself some as well? Like, why aren't you just making extra? And they go, oh, good point, right? Like they're making oatmeal for their child, but they're not making some for themselves. I mean, I'm even guilty of that. And so timing of nutrition is really important, and making sure you're getting in those 3 square meals plus snacks, because as soon as you start going 4 hours at a time without eating, you might get blood sugar dips, especially being in the postpartum period and your adrenal glands are already fatigued. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to get blood sugar dips. Then you're going to get, your adrenals are going to drop. You're going to crave carbohydrates, and you're going to be craving those sugar and carbs. Right?
And chocolate.
Yeah. Or if you're having coffee on an empty stomach in the morning, the same thing's going to happen. Your blood sugar is going to spike. It's going to drop. And then you're going to be reaching for like a muffin or a croissant or something that's just not fulfilling. It's anti-nutrient. It's not going to benefit you in any way. So one of the biggest things I actually say, if your libido is really low, take the sugar out. Mm-hmm. Sugar is such a huge, huge culprit. It squashes testosterone, right? Which is like our huge libido driver. It raises insulin and really depletes our energy. Okay. It can give you liver problems. And when you have liver problems, it won't be able to shuttle the glucose out of the bloodstream. And you won't be able to metabolize your hormones properly, right? So this is why even including things like bitters, like bitter greens.
Arugula, like right? Rocket.
Like mustard leaf and like dandelion, and all those things. Those are really beneficial for the liver and can actually get the liver secreting and get the liver detoxing and things like that. So those are fantastic things to introduce. Right. I really do love leafy greens. So in general, what you want to focus on is whole foods, nothing processed, nothing full of sugar, full of too much salt. Right. Even, if you are having animal products, I usually say to try to even reduce them by 50%. I feel like a lot of people overdo it. And you have to remember that animal products are hormone driven. Right. So if you're trying to balance your own hormones here, taking in hormones from exogenous sources is probably not going to be very helpful.
That's
especially if you're getting your animal products from, just a typical farm, which pumps their animals with hormones and antibiotics and things, right? So that's something to think about there. Leafy greens I love because they contain folic acid, they're high in vitamin E, magnesium, and calcium, all nutrients that support not only your menstrual cycle, but they also lower stress hormone and work up kind of that pleasure ante by helping to raise dopamine levels. Okay.
Yes.
So that will in turn increase arousal. So I really love your leafy greens. So what you want to try to focus on is almost like 50% of your plate being fruits and vegetables. Yeah. Your leafy greens are really important here. Broccoli is wonderful. And then have, maybe 25% of your plate being a healthy fat or healthy protein. It doesn't necessarily have to be an animal-based protein. It could be, lentils, chickpeas, beans. And then, 25% could be that healthy carbohydrate. So you don't want to go cutting out food groups here. Right. We need carbohydrates. We need fats. It's the right fats and the right carbs. Right. So we need our healthy fats because cholesterol makes our hormones. There's so many women who I have come into me and they look at my period disappeared. I don't have a period anymore. And then we start going in and they're, doing these crazy diets where they're either not taking in enough nutrients or they're cutting fats or they're over exercising to the point where, so we have to be very careful with that. We need those fats to support our hormone production.
Right.
So I'm trying to think if there's any other foods
I
that
want
I
to go.
love.
I
Flax
want to
is
go
a
back
great one.
to. I want to go back to eliminating sugar. I think that's a really big one. So
Yeah.
eliminating sugar. When you're talking about that, we're talking like the refined sugar, like white sugar, baked goods, like you said, like
Yeah, not
those.
fruit.
Okay, not fruit. And then what
No.
about like things like potatoes and like white potatoes and white rice? They're okay.
So those are totally fine for things
Okay.
like libido and things like this. If you have an insulin issue, a blood sugar issue, you have PCOS, things like that, then you might want to look more so on taking out those, white rice and white potato and things like that. I always say to keep gluten to a minimum, just because gluten, there's no nutrients in gluten.
Okay.
It's an anti-nutrient. It actually depletes your B vitamins. Pro-inflammatory. So you kind of want to try to keep those pro-inflammatory foods down as much as you can, right? So driving down inflammation. In turn, women will likely see weight loss, which usually in the postpartum period, a lot of women are trying to do.
Right.
But we do tend to kind of overreach on those carbs, as so if you are having carbohydrates, you want to have more of those unrefined grains,
Right.
like quinoa and maybe some wild rice or brown rice and those things. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Great.
But fruit is fine. No fruit fear.
Right.
I'm all about no fruit fear.
Yeah, no fruit fear. I like that. I have not heard that. I always say I could be a fruitarian for
I know.
sure.
You're doing yourself such a disservice if you're starting to, remove fruit from your diet. I'm just like, oh dear Lord.
Because people think it's too high in sugar. And yes, there's some that are higher in sugar than others, but you don't want to eliminate it entirely, for sure. For sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just when it comes to fruit, because I'm somebody who likes dried fruit, just go easy on the dried fruit. More fresh is better.
Right. Fresh is best. But I mean, if you're looking for quick snacks and things, like by all means, have a trail mix with some dried, cranberries in there or dried apple, if it's going to be the thing that gets into your diet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah. You're right. You got to make this like as easy as possible for a mom with, busy mom, busy life and baby. So
exactly.
For sure. Yeah. Awesome. Great tips.
Yeah. But you'll get there. The libido can come back.
It can come back.
It can return. So it's just, finding out where those imbalances are and tweaking it.
We're not in libido jail forever.
No. Although it feels that way sometimes.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for all these tips. This was so great. I know that moms will be rewinding and watching over and over because there's so many tidbits here and there. So Jess, I know you have a lot of stuff on your social media. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. So the best place to find me is probably through my Instagram. So I'm sure you'll put the link there, but it's Dr. Jessica DuPont, very easy, Dr. Jessica DuPont, and you'll find me there. That's where I post the most. You can absolutely go to my website, drjessicand.com if you're looking to book an appointment. But Instagram is probably where you're going to find me the most. I have a few upcoming programs, one of them specifically focused on postpartum. I can't give out too much information, but this is a really excited one I'm really excited for, because there is no program out there for postpartum moms that address everything from nutrition, regulating hormones, how to navigate breastfeeding and weaning, how to navigate hair loss, and libido.
That's a good
whole
one.
Other topic we can do.
Yes, it is.
But how to, cortisol and all this stuff, because like I said, or like even you said earlier, women, their doctor's appointments stop at 6 weeks postpartum. And that's it. It's like, okay, well, good luck now. Have fun. Right. And then you're just left to be like, oh, okay. And so really, like, we need to change that. And women should be getting testing at certain times throughout their postpartum period. So this program is going to talk about that, what to get tested, how to interpret those results, what to eat and how to eat, how to regulate your hormones, how to navigate things, what's normal, what's not normal. And so it's really going to take that all encompassing, and even it's going to address pelvic floor and all this stuff. And so this is going to be launched in the fall, and it's strictly online, so women can do it at their own pace. And so it's just going to give women that information that they're looking for, because Dr. Google, as we know, can cause a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of overwhelm.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what supplements do I do? At what dose? Like, is this good for me? Is this not good for me? I don't know. You know, and it's like, you know, you're too much on your plate already as a postpartum mom. It needs to be easy, laid out. Okay, this is my plan for me.
Right.
Because babies have all these doctor's appointments, but what about you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I'm really, really excited about this one, and I'll let you know as soon as that's launched, but it'll be
and I'll definitely put the link down below when that's out. But everybody, you can reach Dr. Jess. I'll have all her details in the description box below where you can reach her. So thanks so much, Jess, for coming here and being our expert guest. We learned a lot. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Your vibrant, beautiful self. And keep empowering women. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.